This will be a really short review because this movie, there's not a lot to talk about with this movie. So next week or in 2 weeks or something is the next Underworld movie. Um, little background on me and Underworld. I really love the first film. It came out when I was in high school and I was obsessed with it. Like, obsessed. And one time I got an autographed picture from Kate Beckinsale. That happened. She sent a letter. It was really nice. Well, it was her assistant, but whatever. I love her. And I did when I was a teen. So I didn't see the other Underworld movies in theaters because the rest of them came out when I was in college and grad school and poor. So I've seen all the other ones on home video. Somehow, the one that came out 4 years ago, I missed, but the fifth one is supposed to be coming out in like a week or something. It's coming out on the 6th of January. So I was like, well, shit, I need to get caught up so I can see that one in theaters and support Kate Beckinsale. So, uh, the only thing that's good about, like, or the best thing about the first one, I still think the first one holds up, but the best thing about it is Michael Sheen. He's great. That said, he's in the prequel one that's like, historical fantasy or whatever, and that one is a fucking mess. And the third one, which is really, or the second one, which is the sequel, is also a mess. This is the fourth one that comes after the second one because the third one was the prequel. Are you following me? This one was not directed by Len Wiseman. It was Måns Mårlind and Bjorn Stein. They go by Mårlind and Stein, and it's a mess. It has many screenwriters. So Len Wiseman, who created the original characters, comes back on. Then John Havlin writes some. J. Michael Straczynski took a whack at it, and then Allison Burnett, who is actually a man named Allison, he wrote Autumn in New York, which is a terrible, terrible film starring Richard Gere and Winona Ryder. I rewatched it earlier this year because it's directed by Joan Chen, and I was like, oh, maybe it's not as bad as I remembered. It's as bad as I remembered. It's terrible. Anyways, this movie it kind of goes all over the place. It's not really focused. It's not terrible. Like, maybe it is terrible. It's probably terrible if you're not a fan of The World. Because I'm a fan of The World, I'm probably giving it more of a pass than I should. It has the cohesive look of an Underworld film. So I'm in the world that I am appreciating. Also giving it a pass because it had Kate Beckinsale. She's the lead. Obviously, she's great. Giving it one more pass because they had great supporting characters in Stephen Ray and Michael Ealy. I love both of them. They got rid of Scott Speedman. He was the guy in the first two movies, and he's not in this one, and he's not going to be in the next one either. So they've replaced like beefcakiness with Theo James, and he's not bad to look at. I don't think he's a great actor, but he's not bad to look at, and the whole point of him in the movie pretty much is to have good cheekbones. And run around with Kate Beckinsale shooting people. So I enjoyed it, but I enjoy all of these films. So I'm basically saying, like, if you are a fan of the Underworld universe, you'll enjoy this movie. If you are not a fan of the Underworld universe, you should probably just skip it because it's not even in the vicinity of a great film. Sometimes I like crap. So, anyways, this was Underworld Awakening from 2012. Apparently, at one point, it was in 3D. I didn't even talk about the plot. Do you need to know the plot? Do you know the other films? Basically, there's vampires and there's werewolves, and they fight each other, and in really gross R-rated ways. And then this one takes place kind of after the second one. But then it cuts to 12 years in the future, and humans are like trying to kill all of the vampires and the lichens because they are now aware after hundreds of years of not being aware of them. And it's not really explained how they became aware because you just skip over that kind of shit. And she has to like save her daughter that she didn't know that she had because she was cryogenically frozen. And her daughter, much like her man friend Scott Speedman, is a hybrid of the two, and so is invincible basically. And there's one really great moment towards the end with another one of these hybrid people with a grenade that's really gnarly and like probably the best thing that happened in the whole movie. You can just imagine. It reminded me a bit of the part in Jaws 3D. It was similar in awesomeness to that. So Jaws 3D, also not a good film, but I enjoy it because of Dennis Quaid. So, you know my taste. It goes from the high to the low equally. This was Underworld Awakening. If you're an Underworld fan, give it a shot. If you're not an Underworld fan, pass it on by.